It's Friday, October 4th, 2019. Digital Trends Live is about to start. Here are some of the topics we'll be covering on today's show. A new autonomous taxi service is about to begin testing in Las Vegas, joining an already crowded scene. We'll talk about Zoox and their plans to launch commercial services in the very near future. And today is the day Ghost Recon Breakpoint releases. We spoke to John Bernthal yesterday. Today we'll have Felicia Miranda and Gabe Gerwin walking through the actual gameplay. We'll be joined by Aussie Goal, the chief commercial officer of a company called Site Diagnostics that is looking to digitize blood tests while dramatically lowering the costs. And it's Friday, which means Ken Young, the technology editor from Flipboard, will join me for another edition of Tech Briefs, where we'll bring you up to date on all the latest news in the world of technology from the past week. All that and more on today's Digital Trends Live. There it is. It is Friday. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us. This is our daily show here from Digital Trends, where we bring you the trending tech news of the day, headlines, news, interviews, discussions, and so much more, all while broadcasting live across a number of different platforms. We're on Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Dailymotion, we're on Apple News, we're on LinkedIn, we're on 2 different mobile apps, we're on a smart television app, and there we are. We're at digitaltrends.com/live. Hello. Thanks for joining us. So whatever app you're on, whatever platform you're watching on, join us for this interactive discussion as we go through the show. We do appreciate everybody who's a part of this. But to get it started, I'm Greg Nibbler, joined by Nicole Rainey. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning indeed. We have a lot to cover today. And,
I'm excited.
I know. It's seriously, there's so much to get to just in the start of the show, let alone what we have later on. So let's talk about some trending tech topics. So here's what we've got. Right now, we are taking a look at Instagram with a new app that goes in conjunction with Instagram called Threads that is launched. And this all goes back to Facebook's promise earlier this year, where they want to change up how their social media works. They want to make it more of a private social network. And this is the latest attempt with that. It's Instagram Threads. It's live now. And there are some interesting features that come along with it.
I think it's kind of interesting because when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, okay, so it's basically an app for the people who are too lazy to delete the people they don't want to follow anymore on Instagram.
Right.
Because I think we all kind of suffer from that, right? Like you're following like 800 accounts at this point, and you're not really seeing the content, maybe of like your family or friends or anything like that. So the idea is Threads is based off of your close friends list on Instagram. You download a separate app, it automatically imports your close friends, and then you only see content from them.
Which in theory, that's not that bad of an idea.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird that it's a separate app, but I think there's a need for this function. Like you mentioned before, Facebook is really trying to put like the actual social back into social media,
right?
Like surfacing content from people that you actually know and care about. But I think it's kind of interesting they have to toggle between 2 different apps, but they're related to one another. So for example, if you get a direct message from your close friend in your Threads app, it'll still show up on your normal Instagram app.
So you can see it on both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the idea is Threads sort of like filters everybody else that you follow, maybe brands, businesses, influencers, artists, celebrities, filters all of those people out. And then Threads is just for your close friends and family.
Which to some extent, I mean, I see that great for a lot of users, although Instagram also relies a lot on influencers too. So that side of things is a little bit different, and this goes in conjunction, with removing some of the ways that you can like things. They're talking about testing that out on Facebook too. I want to know what people think. So if you're a heavy Instagram user, is this something that you want? Do you want to have this ability to just trim it down? There's a couple of other features that come along with it. One, now they say you have to opt into this, but it's called auto status, to where your location data would immediately be sent and consistently sent to people that are in your close friends list, that are on your Threads app. That's not something that I think I would want. But,
I don't like it.
I don't like it, but I guess I can maybe see a couple of ways that might work if you're in, if you're at like a big event or something like that.
Yeah, and the idea is like Instagram would help you kind of like filter, right? So if your Instagram can see from your GPS data that you're at home, right? And so you'll just mark like you're at home. So it's not like Instagram is telling all of your close friends like, I live at like 123 Davis Street or something like that.
Yeah.
It's saying you're at home, and it'll say something like if you're at the beach, it'll just say at the beach. It won't necessarily say what beach you're at. It just kind of like updates people with their status.
Give somebody an idea.
Yeah, and the idea is that you can be like at a cafe, at work, at home, grocery shopping, and it's a little bit more, I think, though, invasive than some like the normal location status updates that we would do. Like if we aren't like a really, really cool event, I might say something like, yeah, I'm at Austin City Limits Festival. Of course I'm tagging myself this weekend because I'm hanging out there. But I don't know if I necessarily want to be like, oh yeah, I'm at getting coffee.
I'm at the grocery store.
Right now. 5 minutes later, now I'm back at my desk. 5 minutes later, now I'm at the bathroom.
Boy, Nicole gets coffee a lot. So yeah, taking a look at that. This is, again, Threads. This is what's out right now. I think looking at the bigger picture, it ties into this whole move that Facebook's trying to do. And it's still, I feel, a little bit convoluted on what actually they're going for. But what they're saying is that, moving this back to more of like a private social network. They're going to be integrating Facebook and Instagram even more. What do you think? Is this something that you're into? Is Facebook something that you can trust with this kind of information? And I think that's where a lot of the marketing, or at least a lot of the information that we're getting, is a little bit, like I said, convoluted. Like, is Facebook somebody that we can trust when it comes down to that? And that's what we'll have to find out. But I know people are still going to be using Instagram and Facebook regardless. And thank you to everybody who's watching us on Facebook right now. But you can read more about this Instagram Threads app at digitaltrends.com. So let us know what you think in the comments about that. We have a lot to get to, but we need to stop right now and read some comments, because it's Read 'em and Weep. This is our segment that we do every day here on Digital Trends, where we take a look at some of the comments that come through across our many different platforms, and we address those comments directly to you right now. We're going to read them, and we're going to see our reactions in real time as it happens. So this is something that we love, and again, if you drop in comments live, we can also take those as we go through the show. All right, James, regarding the NYPD is sending undercover cops to Joker screenings for its opening weekend. Those cops just want to see Joker for free. I love the comment.
Well, they're not even just seeing it for free. They're getting paid to see it, technically.
That's true. Technically, yeah, you're paid. That is a big article, that whole series that we've had at Digital Trends, just talking about the Joker movie. I'm really excited for it. I really want to go see it. But yeah, there's some scare associated with it. We've got the big articles at Digital Trends that you can read about it and get into it. We might cover it a little bit in between the streams later on today. But I don't know what everybody thinks about it. But for me, I think go out and see the movie. That's what I would say. I'm going to go see the movie. I'm not going to worry about anything. But James, thank you. Thank you for that comment. And also, kudos to them. They're going to get to see it for free. Paid.
Yeah, they get to pay to see it.
Rico, regarding this automated gas pump, fills your tank up like you would in a drive-thru. Are we really this lazy? Are we?
I like the emphasis at the end. Like I imagine him being like, "Are we?"
Yeah. Are we? Yes. The answer is yes, Rico. 100%. I think that is what a lot of tech that we see when it comes out. Yeah. 100% we are. I haven't seen what this video is, so an automated gas pump. But we live in, this is in Portland, Oregon. This is where we're based out of for this segment of the show. And here, you can't pump your own gas anyway. We actually have people that pump it already.
Yeah, we have gas station attendants, so somebody has to come and actually fill up your tank for you. So,
someone named Sam Slofter. Come for the news, stay for Greg's tears. Yes, that is 100% it. You never know when I'm going to start crying. The waterworks could turn on at any moment.
Especially during Read 'em and Weep.
Especially during Read 'em and Weep. I mean, it could just like that. It could happen.
But to answer Rico's question, yes, we are that lazy.
Yes, 100%. 100%, Rico. Peter, regarding we now have scientific proof that quitting Facebook makes you less depressed. Surprise, surprise, especially when this insidious bunch of snowflakes decide what posts you see you can share and make money off your personal and supposed secure information.
Point of order, he posted this on Facebook.
Also, anytime you use snowflakes, it does kind of take away a little bit from whatever kind of message you're trying to deliver. I'm just going to say, I don't care what side you're on, doesn't really translate well. But Peter, I mean, I can see that, that certainly it would help out a little bit when it comes down to the depression side of things, of not being on Facebook. I should probably try it sometime. No, it's there's a lot of studies associated with that. But yes, it is the irony that you are posting on Facebook while complaining about Facebook and about the snowflakes is not lost on us. All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Brandon, regarding Microsoft debuts Surface Earbuds, a privacy AirPods competitor. Finally, true wireless earbuds I'll be able to easily hide at work. Okay, I just had to do it since it was all caps. Something they really wanted to emphasize.
Yeah, I feel like he may be more excited than the way you made him sound just then. I don't think he's a robot.
It's just all caps and then period.
Yeah, just period. Yeah, no exclamation point. Yeah. So maybe that was an accidental all caps.
Yes, although if you have seen these, I don't know if you're being ironic or not, you're not going to be able to hide these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell if sarcasm's coming through when it's all caps and period at the end. So again, the translation doesn't always necessarily work. But yeah, these things are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty big. And we have an article up at Digital Trends just about the different wireless earbuds that are out and about how they're all pretty ugly.
Or maybe he just needs to grow his hair out. I feel like that's
true.
That's the number one step to hiding your earbuds.
That's
just
a
long
great
hair
way.
over your ears, nobody can tell.
Nobody knows. So Brandon, there you go. You just got a tip, and that's what we do here at Digital Trends. We bring you up to date. We'll give you tips, all kinds of things as we go through. Steve, regarding hashtag Microsoft just released its new foldable phone. Odd, it appears some people are laughing at advances in technology. Oh well, I guess that happened with the horseless cart too. Nice. Nice snark, Steve. When it comes down to that, yes, I'm not I don't think anyone's laughing at the technology like, Microsoft.
Yeah.
But it's something different. I think it's worth discussing.
Yeah, I don't think that we ever, I mean, we laugh at the comments, but I don't think we necessarily laugh at the tech.
Also, I don't know if this phone is necessarily the horseless cart equivalent. I don't know if a car is what we're actually,
Yeah, because we're not exactly like reinventing the phone here. We're just adding a different level that we're still kind of wondering how that works. You know?
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. On today's show, Craig Nippert fails at recognizing sarcasm. You didn't type that in all caps, otherwise I would know. So, Keelan, if you could just redo that one.
Was that sarcasm too?
Then we'll get it too. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. Hello, everyone. It's Digital Trends. Let's talk about some more trending tech topics. Let's continue on through the show, talking about Uber right now. And we've discussed them a lot this week and their plans to be your platform for everything when it comes to Uber Eats, Uber Delivery, all of that stuff, and Uber Rides. But now they are launching this new app, and it rolls out in Chicago right now. It's called Uber Works, and it's an app to connect people to gig economy jobs. So it's a gig economy company with a gig app connecting people to gig work.
But the difference here is that it kind of functions almost like a tech-only temp agency.
Yeah.
So the idea is that if you're a company and then you need shifts filled for maybe like back of house kitchen work or maybe some like warehouse work or something like that, you can find somebody who's qualified to fill in for that specific shift and vice versa. So maybe you're somebody with a lot of warehouse experience, you can fill in at multiple shifts at different warehouses.
And the idea, and that's from the company side, and then from the employee side or the worker side, as they refer to it, is you can see what the rates are, you can find out all of that, and then just pick and choose which shifts you want. So essentially, you bounce around all over the place to different places, which is kind of like a temp agency to some extent, but it's an interesting way to go about it, and Uber seems like a weird company to be doing it.
Especially right now, because the company's kind of under fire for not necessarily supporting their current employees.
Yeah.
And the idea is Uber just keeps saying like, oh, we're a platform that connects like Uber drivers with Uber users. But in reality, Uber drivers pretty much work for Uber, even though Uber's trying to say that they don't.
Yep.
So it's really interesting that they're launching like this separate platform that really is trying to just connect that like A to B kind of thing. So I don't know. Would you use it?
I mean, I've certainly worked in that kind of economy before, but...
Yeah, I've signed up for a temp agency before. I've done gigs like this before.
Yeah.
I just don't know that I would necessarily go to Uber for something like that. Or I don't know that I'd like something that's like that tech-based would be that necessary.
Yeah.
'Cause you're kind of removing the human element, right? Like somebody who knows maybe your skill sets and your
knows more
preferences.
about you.
Yeah, it can connect you with the right kind of jobs.
Yeah, and I do want to know what people think. We're live, so if you're on a platform, you have a thought about this, drop it into the comments and let us know what you think, because I want to know if people are going to be using it, and is this something that would work out? I suppose on the working side of things, there's certain times where you just got to take whatever job you can get. And if you are working in that freelance field, maybe this gives you more opportunities or ways to connect with different companies in a different way, to find shifts. But at the same time, I'm noticing a comment actually from Keelan, a new innovative way to weaken unions and provide workers with even less benefits. That is another thing to take a look at too when it comes to that.
But on the flip side, for people who are maybe like struggling to find gigs or trying to like re-enter the workforce after a like an absence, something like this could be helpful. Uber did say in its announcement that it's trying to pair with different organizations within Chicago to sort of facilitate that. So maybe people are having a hard time re-entering the workforce and they're looking for different resources. They can use this as another option as well.
And that's a good thing. That's certainly something that I think everybody can agree with. That would be a good thing to do. But is this going to work? Is it going to roll out past Chicago? They're trying Chicago right now. So I believe as of today actually that you can do this. You can download it it and try it out. Let us know if you're trying this. If you think this is something good, I really want to hear some more opinions on it. So let us know in the comments whenever you're seeing this. Just drop them in the comments. I would love to see what people think about that. But that's something that's trending right now. Uber works with that new app. Continuing on with some more trending topics in the news. Las Vegas is about to get another robot taxi service. So there's already companies that are testing out their autonomous vehicles in Las Vegas. Lyft has been doing it for a long time now, actually. But now there's another company called Zoox, and it's Zoox, Zoox. I'm assuming that's how you say that. Zoox, and they announced that they're going to be testing their fleet of autonomous vehicles in Vegas starting basically now. And this is, they're a 5-year-old company. They've been testing in San Francisco previously. This is taking a look at what some of their technology is. This is going to be, in Vegas, another one rolling out there.
I can see why everybody's choosing Vegas, though. I mean, there's tons of, tourism is super high there. And if you've ever been to Vegas, it's a madhouse.
It is.
Like you're trying to get anywhere, trying to test out. Like usually if you're going from like business to business, there's maybe just like a normal parking lot that you pull into. But going to hotel, to convention center, to restaurant, there's so many different kinds of parking lots and different pickup locations and drop-off locations. And
it's madness.
Yeah, so
I mean, just going in those lines to stop at a hotel.
Yeah, I can imagine that this would be like the perfect playground to test autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, lots of obstacles, lots of things to watch out for, and that's why I think a lot of the companies are trying it. And like you said, lots of tourists. So there's plenty of people to be taking these things. You're not going to have a lack. They said that the difference is obviously between San Francisco. You've got a lot of nighttime traffic, a lot more obstacles to go through, weird roadways to go down. And right now they're going to be testing out Toyota SUVs is what they're using currently. But then they're going to be changing that up. Taking a look at a comment. But then who would I directly tell about how much money I lost at the table when I get in a cab? Sure, that happens a lot. You can still talk to
to the car.
Yeah, talk to the robot. That's what we need. We need Johnny Cab. You need to have something in there so that you can talk to it. Let me tell you, Johnny.
Oh, that's pretty
good. That's clearly what we need to have. But yeah, this is something that's going to be testing out, and we're going to see more and more of this rolling out as all of these companies are looking towards autonomous vehicles. Testing has to happen in diverse environments. Mostly, it's in good weather environments. San Francisco, clearly, that's a little bit of a gray area there. But that's something that you can look at. Yeah, that's what you get on Friday. You get all that kind of stuff. We save it up for the end. So they're trying out in different kind of environments. But once they start trying it out in like snow, in heavy rain, that's when I think we're going to start seeing this rolling out across the country, and more we're going to be trying these things out. But now, if you go to Vegas, there's probably a good chance you could end up riding in one of these test vehicles. What do you think about that? I want to know what people think. So drop it in the comments there. Let us know where you want to go. All right, we've got 2 things here for the last topic, and it has to do with tech and crime. So 2 crime stories dealing with tech. One of these has to do with something that happened in Portland, Oregon. And it is somebody who used a drone to help steal from food carts. It's interesting how they were using it, and this is something that I feel like we're going to see more and more of as we see more people get access to drones. But it's the first time that I can actually think of a drone, other than dropping stuff off in prison yards, being utilized for a crime like this.
When I first heard this story, I immediately thought of you, actually, because in the past we've talked about like what our ideal sort of like AI assistant would look like.
Yeah.
And you said that you kind of wanted like a hovering drone who could sort of follow you and help you out with stuff.
Yeah.
So this person allegedly did use the drone to do that. The idea is that he used the drone as sort of like a sentry.
Yeah.
And allegedly like went in, scoped out the area, and then once the area was clear, he was able to like supposedly go in and break in and steal some stuff.
Yeah, and the food cart owner, so she actually made a statement just talking about it because she saw it in the footage afterward, after she got stolen. Apparently she had a surveillance camera, and then she saw that there was this drone hovering just near it, and that was watching the food truck before it got broken into. She said, "I'm shocked, angry, and also mildly impressed." So despite the fact that she lost some stuff, I mean, there's a couple of things here. One, robbing food carts is not going to make you rich. There's not a lot in a food cart. That's good. Apparently they got away with some business checks, tablets, loose change, and some other things. So just enough to mess up her business. But using a drone for that, now I feel like this is going to give ideas to all kinds of people.
I mean, the lesson, though, is this person did not get away with it.
They did. No, they did get caught.
Yeah, so somebody was arrested under suspicion of this crime. So,
yes.
Even if they did use a mildly impressive form of burglary, it was not effective.
This is going to add to so much paranoia, though, that's already out there that people have about technology or drones in general. Now, all the people are like, no, they're watching me in my backyard. Like, no, nobody's watching you. Well, now this is going to be their proof that they're going to put for everything.
And the second
yes, they are.
The second story, too, that we have, the idea is that somebody was using tech to track somebody, and then that information was used against them to supposedly get them arrested.
Yeah, so that was the one. You could read about this one in Portland at digitaltrends.com. There's the other one. Now, this is a trending story that you're going to probably see a lot of places today, so we'll let you know what's going on with this. It has to do with, this is in New York, has to do with the mafia, and the way that they just arrested, I believe it's over 20 different mafia members were just arrested, all because of one guy who was jealous of his girlfriend. So the story goes like this. Joseph Amato, who's 60 years old, is apparently in the Club crime family. He bought an electronic tracker to keep track of his girlfriend, and this was a few years ago. And he put it on her car so that he could track where she was going and follow along with everything she was doing. And then he would show up, and then he'd have to move the tracker and reposition it so that she wouldn't see it. Well, eventually she saw it.
Yeah, eventually she found it. Understandably, maybe gotten pretty angry about it.
Yeah.
And to get rid of it, and supposedly to trick him, put it on like a city bus. And so eventually the bus operators found it, and they were like, what is this? And push comes to shove, things go down the line. This information was then connected with that crime family, and then that information was allegedly then used to lead to further instances of like the police being able to like wiretap phones and things like that. And then here we are today, and 20 suspected members of that crime family have been arrested in New York.
Yeah. So,
all because of a jealous boyfriend.
All because of a jealous boyfriend. I still can't stop laughing at the B-roll we were just showing there of the crooks. Yeah, but yeah, this is just an example of somebody, kind of being an idiot and not realizing how much tech really tracks you. They were able to track all of this back down.
I feel like
all because of that.
These would make really great Law and Order episodes, both of
It
these.
is. Somebody's writing a screenplay of this.
I feel like these are both plots when I read these stories. Like, this is not real life.
Maybe not a full movie. Maybe you're right. Maybe
just
more of
a
a
Law and Order episode.
Yeah,
just
a single episode. Okay, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's definitely going to get written into something. That I guarantee. I wish The Sopranos was still around, because this would definitely be a Sopranos episode. But that is what you can take a look at. So all of these stories are going to be at digitaltrends.com, and that's where you keep up to date on everything that's going on in the world of technology. And we thank everybody who joins us. So we have a lot coming up on the show today. I just want to give you just an idea. We're going to have Felicia Miranda, who's going to be joining us to talk more about Ghost Recon. She's going to be with Gabe Gerwin. We have some other great guests. We have Ken Young from Flipboard, who's going to be joining us for Tech Briefs, where we'll kind of recap some of the big stories in tech. And we'll have Ryan Juanita, who's also going to be on for Between the Streams, and tell you a little bit more about movies and entertainment. All that's coming up on the show today. But before we go to break, thank you, Nicole.
Thank you for having me.
Always fun. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. Keep dropping in your comments there. You can pick on me all you want. It's fine. I'll still read the comments. Sam.
You just might cry.
Yes, just a bit. Yeah, I know. They just want to see my tears. That's all it is. Keep trying. We'll see. Maybe that's a tease for later. All right. We'll be back in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. And welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Again, thank you for joining us. We broadcast live here every weekday, so hit that subscribe button, whatever platform you're on. Stop, hit subscribe. That's it. Now we'll continue on with the show. So here's what we're going to do. We had Riley Wynn, who was down at TwitchCon and did a ton of interviews, so we still have some amazing ones to air for you. That's what we're going to do right now. Here it is, Riley Wynn with Krista.
Riley Wynn with Digital Trends. We're here at the UTA brunch at TwitchCon 2019. I'm joined here by professional Call of Duty player and full-time streamer Prisa. Prisa, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
So we're at TwitchCon. How many TwitchCons have you been to?
This is my very first one.
Very first one.
Yeah.
How's it been so far?
It's been awesome, man. Just meeting so many people. Went to Twitch Rivals and played in the Fortnite tournament. Didn't do too well, but it was all for fun. So just meeting a bunch of people, it's awesome, man.
So coming into this weekend, since it was your first time, what were you looking forward to the most?
Honestly, before Twitch Rivals, probably just meeting people and just making connections and just finding people to stream with. And I came out with my girlfriend, and she's a streamer as well. So just trying to find people to connect with. And honestly, Twitch Rivals was really fun. So all of that is just amazing.
So I think Twitch is really interesting in the fact that like people meet each other online, and then you come to events like this and meet people in person for the first time. Did you have anything like that?
I wasn't really coming out here to meet anyone specifically, but actually a lot of people noticed me from just streaming and just the Call of Duty scene in general. And honestly, I didn't expect to be noticed as much as I did out here because this isn't really my scene. Like, TwitchCon really isn't my scene. I meet a lot of people at the Call of Duty events. So just meeting people like that just notice me is awesome.
It's pretty flattering, right?
For sure, for sure.
So you're a big Call of Duty guy. There's been tons of versions. What has been your favorite?
For competitively, I'd probably say Black Ops 3, and then like just casual, just like COD 4 or MW2.
Okay. Yeah, everyone says Modern Warfare 2. Like everyone. It's such a great one.
MW2, it was just so fun, just like sniping and just having fun with your friends. Just like it was awesome.
So when you're streaming, chat's always going crazy, right?
Yeah.
People are throwing in memes, emoticons. What's your favorite meme or like emoticon that people throw in your chat?
I mean, of me, like, if any of my emotes, I'd probably say I have, like, a Jimmy Neutron emote with my head on it, pretty much.
Okay.
And it's just, like, a meme that Censor made of me, like, a while ago that, like, it kind of died down, but it's still hilarious to me every time it's in there. I don't know, and then, like, just, like, every other emote, I'd probably say, like, just, like, the Poggers, dude. I just, like, the
Everyone says, like, PogChamp or Poggers.
PogChamp, dude, it's, like, it's just, I don't know what it is about it. It just, like, makes me smile every time I see it. It's hilarious, so.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Speaking of the chat, that's, like, a big part of Twitch. Another big part of Twitch is like people being able to gift or donate things.
Yeah.
What's like the weirdest thing you've been gifted?
The weirdest thing I've been gifted? Oh, I don't even know. Like, it's not a gift, but I've been donated, and then they'll be like, yo, click on this link, it's crazy, or like, click on this and vote for me, and I'll click on it, it'll be like a pop-up scare or something, and it's like a loud noise, I'll be like, yo, like, why'd you just do that, man? But like, I haven't really been gifted anything weird because like all you get really gifted is like subs and stuff. Yeah. But like donation-wise, that's probably like the weirdest thing. Or like people just say weird things and like roast you. I'm like, dude, like thanks for your money though. Yeah. Appreciate it. Like, was
it worth the money to roast me? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, they just want attention or something. But I don't know. There's definitely some weird people out there, but I don't know.
There sure are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny though. It makes it entertaining because like then your chat is like LOL, LMFL, like just it's awesome.
So. Big Call of Duty guy, but we wanted to go back a little bit. We want to throw it back. What's the first video game you remember playing?
Halo 1. Well, on console, like Xbox, Halo 1, because that's what I got like a original Xbox, and it came with Halo and Counter-Strike.
Okay.
Actually, my sister's grandma got it for us, and that's probably like the main thing I remember playing. But before that, I mean, like, my brothers always had like Pokemon and stuff on like DS, but like for me, like my first console I had that I owned, like that was just like for me was the original Xbox and Halo 1, Halo 2, like all that stuff. So I'd probably say that.
So present day, what's your favorite game besides Call of Duty?
Oh, that's hard to pick, man, because like it kind of changes. It was Fortnite for a while, and then like I got back into CS, and I don't know, CS is just like always up there for sure. I'd probably say CS. Other than COD, yeah.
Okay. They're very similar, so I get that.
Yeah, for sure. I just like, I don't know, like FPS games, just like, I don't know what it is. Like that's like literally all I enjoy playing. So like, if I play like MMOs or anything, I just can't do it. I don't know what it is, but like FPS always get me, so.
There you go. So you found a lot of success in esports and streaming in general. What kind of advice do you have for someone that wants to get into the industry as well?
it takes a lot of time and patience. I think patience is the biggest thing for sure. Okay. You can't rush into anything because then like you kind of start trying to force things and like things will probably like slow down at that point. If you just grind and put your mind to it and have a vision of something, just be patient and it'll happen.
Fair enough, fair enough. So these Call of Duty events, these other esport events, they're getting bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
Filling up stadiums, stuff like that. Where do you see the future of esports headed?
Oh man, I think it's gonna be crazy in like 5 years. I mean, it's getting bigger every year, but I see it like in 5 years, like arenas gonna be sold out like everywhere, like in each city. Obviously, like it might be different, but I just want to be like, I don't know, I want to be able to walk in these arenas and travel to different cities and just go in and just like, we're gonna be like in the middle. It's like big screens, like like above us, just like crowds just everywhere, just like chants, like going crazy. Like, bro, when I was out in London, like the crowd was going crazy. I feel like it's gonna be like that like almost every time, like in like 5 years. So
that will be insane and awesome.
It would be sick. So it would be sick.
Who doesn't want like a 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 fans screaming at him, right?
Yeah, you just make a crazy play and you just see everyone going crazy. Like it's an amazing feeling for sure.
Does that ever distract you? I've always wondered that. Like when you're playing in like a competitive event and you make a big play and then like you just see or hear roars and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of different per person. Like sometimes you'll know when the camera's on you because like you'll feel like the base of your gun shooting every time you shoot. So you're like, yo, I know like they're spectating me right now. For me, it kind of makes me want to just do better, and it kind of like amps me up.
There you go.
For some people, it might distract them and make them like a little bit nervous, but I mean, I think it's awesome. Like when it's on me, I just like try to go crazy. So
love it. Last thing, self-plug. Where can people go to follow you?
Prisa with 2 H's on all social medias. I mean, I don't know if you guys can really see this, but Prisa with 2 H's other than Snapchat, but I don't really use Snapchat anymore, so just Prisa, man. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, everything.
No Snapchat, huh? Why?
I
love it.
And I used it for a little bit, but I kind of fell away from it. I don't know. Like, I just never, like, would pick up my phone, like, yeah, I'm going to post on my Snap. I probably should, just because it's another social media to grow, but I don't right now, so.
All right, fair enough. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking the time from your brunch to chat with us. We hope you have a great time at the rest of TwitchCon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you want more updates from TwitchCon 2019 or interviews like this, go over to digitaltrends.com. That's it for us here in San Diego. Back to you, Greg.
All right, that was Riley at TwitchCon in San Diego. Riley is a content machine. I think he interviewed every single person at TwitchCon, and they're all great. So thank you to Riley. Also, don't forget to check out his video of trying every single gamer supplement at the same time. That is something that is a warning lesson for all of us that you should watch. That's on YouTube. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and then we're going to send you to New York, where Felicia Miranda and Gabe Gerwin are going to be talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, so stick around back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thanks for joining us. It is today, Ghost Recon Breakpoint is out, but we already got to play it. And so that's what we're going to be talking about next. Before I send it to New York, though, I want to remind everybody that yesterday we talked to John Bernthal, who is the star of this game, and you can check out that video, the interview, the whole article that we have at digitaltrends.com. Another huge thanks to Ubisoft and John Bernthal for joining us for that yesterday. But now let's talk about the actual gameplay. So I'm Greg Nibbler here in Portland. I'm sending it to New York, where Felicia Miranda is standing by. Felicia, I'll pass it to you to interview Gabe. Here we go.
Hey everyone, my name is Felicia and I'm the gaming editor at Digital Trends. I'm joined here today by Gabe, who is actually reviewing Ghost Recon, and we're going to ask him some questions. That way you can decide if you want to get this game or not. It's actually out today for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So let's jump into it. So Gabe, can you tell us a little bit about the story behind Ghost Recon Breakpoint?
Sure, yeah. So Ghost Recon Breakpoint takes place a few years after the previous game, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and it actually is sort of led into its story by a prologue mission that they released a few months ago for Wildlands. Rather than take place on a real location like Bolivia from Wildlands, it takes place in a sort of fictional series of islands called Aroa that has been taken over by John Bernthal's character and his group of private military contractors called the Wolves. As Ghost Leader Nomad, you're sent into Aroa to basically see what's what, and you're ambushed. Almost every member of your squad is killed, and you're left basically to fend for yourself and uncover just what's happening on the libertarian techno-utopia, they call it. And yeah, it sort of just snowballs from there.
Yeah, so for those of you who are unfamiliar, you know, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Breakpoint kind of takes place after that and kind of builds on what was already established in that game. For those of you who are new to Ghost Recon, can you talk a little bit about, you know, what kind of gameplay Ghost Recon presents? You know, at a glance, you would think, you know, it's like a first-person shooter, but that's not really the case. What is Ghost Recon Breakpoint like when you play it?
Yeah, so dating back to the first Ghost Recon games, they've always been tactical shooters. They were initially first-person until Advanced Warfighter, and ever since then, they switched to a third-person perspective. But with Wildlands and Breakpoint, sort of what makes them different is that they're set in enormous open worlds. Breakpoint's around the same size as Wildlands, but both of them they're bigger than any other game that I've ever played. Sometimes to the point of being too big, but basically it's story focused, but there's plenty of side missions to do as well. This one launches with player versus player content, which the last one did not. It came later with Wildlands. And yeah, it's sort of, if you were to take the structure of something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, mix in some of the Division's gear elements and the combat, though, still from sort of classic Ghost Recon games, that's what you get with Breakpoint.
That actually sounds a lot of fun, and I'm sure people who are into all of those games will probably find something to like about Breakpoint. And for, you know, in regards to the new location, you know, what I thought what really stood out in some of the videos that we saw about it was, you know, the variety. You know, there was snowy mountains, there were beaches, there was jungles. How does that come into play when you're playing the game?
Yeah, so, you know, it's not like it has gameplay implications, really. If you're in the snow or if you're in the jungle or the swamp or something like that, it's not really going to have much of an impact. You can slip when you're on hills, but I didn't notice any real difference if there was something like snow or not. Really, though, it's just more interesting because with, you know, Bolivia, they were within the confines of a real place, so there were a lot of, you know, sort of open areas, open prairies and mountains and stuff like that, and there's some of that in Breakpoint as well. But basically, when you're going from mission to mission, you're going to encounter a lot of different environments. There's also urban areas with things like hospitals or like conference centers and that sort of thing. So basically, it keeps it feeling fresh. Wildlands, I think the campaign was really sort of slog to get through because every mission felt the same, but I didn't feel that way with Breakpoint. There was a lot more variety. Yeah,
and you know, this game also has a multiplayer mode. how does it differ from the campaign mode?
Yeah, so cooperative, you can play everything that you could play solo with friends. So if you wanted to play every campaign mission with your buddy by your side, you could do that. Up to 4 people can play together. But otherwise, you're just going to have your drone to help you. So basically, the open world can be explored either with a friend or finding someone random. You can be in 2 completely different spots as well. You could be doing different missions if you wanted to. And then there's also the separate Ghost War, which is the player versus player mode. That's set on its own maps. They're not connected to the open world. And it's sort of a really intense, blink and you miss it, you get killed sort of multiplayer. Kind of like across, I've seen some people compare it to Battle Royale, actually, because there is a ring that will close a little bit as a match goes on, but it's only 4 versus 4. But you use many of the same sort of abilities that you'd use in the open world. You have to be very careful about not being seen. You can mark enemies with your drone if you want. And the progression is constant between the two, so weapons you unlock during multiplayer you can then use in the campaign.
Oh, that sounds a lot of fun, actually. And your review is going to be going up sometime today. For those who are kind of on the fence, can you tell them what you really liked about Breakpoint and what you didn't like so much about it?
Sure. So the things I liked, like I said, I think the story is more engaging this time around. It's not going to win awards, but John Bernthal's character, Cole Walker, feels like a good villain. You really like to hate him, which is something that he's gotten very good at doing in his roles over the years with Walking Dead and that sort of thing. And when things are going really well, when you're doing your stealth properly, sneaking into an area, taking out a couple enemies without being seen, and then things suddenly explode and you're forced to go into combat, that sort of stuff is really, really engaging and really fun. And with another person, it gets even crazier. As far as what I didn't like, just because of the size of the world, and this was an issue with Wildlands as well, but I think maybe more so in Breakpoint, it's very unpolished. I had a lot of bugs. I had a bug on the last mission that forced me to restart part of it. I've had characters that just don't show up for like 30 seconds, and then they sort of materialize out of nothingness. And the other thing, and this is an issue with Wildlands, but was not an issue with Future Soldier, the cover system. Because this game is so big and there's so many different places you can go, they couldn't really use the sort of button-based system for cover that they use in The Division and in Splinter Cell before that. Instead, they use basically just sort of a contextual cover system where the game tries to guess if you want to be in cover or not, and it's finicky, and sometimes you'll be facing the wrong way. So yeah, those are the real things that were annoying me. I don't think the cover system is enough to really sway a purchase one way or another, but I think the bugs are for now.
Well, thank you, Gabe, for joining us here today to talk about Breakpoint. Hopefully that helped you guys out if you're considering buying this or not, and make sure you check out our review, which will be going up sometime today. It is out today, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and thank you guys for joining us.
All right, thank you to Felicia and Gabe for again talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which, as she said, is out now. And don't forget to check out our John Bernthal interview that's up at digitaltrends.com as well, because we want you to take a look at that. It's pretty cool that we got to actually sit down and talk to him. I'm excited to play the game. It looks pretty fun, but let us know what you think. If you're going to be getting it, if you're going to be trying it, obviously let us know your opinions on that as well. And we have a lot coming up here on Digital Trends Live today. So just want to remind you, we've got Ryan Juanita with Between the Streams, which is going to be happening here in just a little while. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of movies and television, including that Joker movie that's coming out this weekend. We'll talk about that, Birds of Prey, a few other things. We have Ken Young from Flipboard, the technology editor for Flipboard, to join us for Tech Briefs, where we'll recap the entire Microsoft event, which is what went on earlier this week. It's probably the biggest story in tech this week, so we'll be recapping that. And we've got some great interviews coming up as well, talking about some cutting-edge technology coming up next. So I want everybody to stick around, drop in your comments, your questions, whatever you want to talk about in our live chat, whatever platform you're on. We thank you for joining us. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. This is Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Nibbler. We really appreciate it. Dropping your comments and questions as we go through the show, and we love bringing you up to date on everything that's going on in the world of technology. And in particular, right now, we're going to talk about technology and the crossover into health and different ways that tech can improve lives. And to do that, we have a really great guest who's joining us. We have the Chief Commercial Officer for Sight Diagnostics, Aussie Goel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you too. I was reading everything about what your company is doing. It's so fascinating and just seeing what you're able to do. But I want to give everybody a base level to go off of here. Could we get a little bit of a background on your company, and then we'll get into some of these issues that you're solving?
Yeah, of course. So Sight is a diagnostics company based in Tel Aviv, Israel, with offices in London, Silicon Valley. And what we're here to do is to offer faster, pain-free diagnostics to improve health. And Sight started 10 years ago doing diagnostics for malaria, focused mostly on Africa. And the technology has been adapted now for complete blood counts. A complete blood count is the most common blood test offered. There's around 4 billion of those happen in the world. All of them happen in a central lab, which is fine in some cases, but when you want results quickly, a centralized diagnostics paradigm doesn't work. And we have created a new technology. This is the Olo, our latest analyzer that allows you to run this test within minutes.
So to give a little bit of a broader picture there too, when it comes to blood analysis, you said there's 4 billion tests that are done. I'm assuming every day or something along those lines. There's probably a lot that are done with this. I'm not the expert on that, but I'll say there's a lot of blood analysis that goes on, and you have to go back to that central lab, and that does take time, and that takes you have to have the technological know-how, you have to have the infrastructure to handle that. So this kind of machine would make it able to run those kinds of tests out in the field, in theory. Is that right?
Yeah, basically anywhere where there's an operator that can run it. So it could be at a doctor's office, it could be in a hospital ward, it could be in a pharmacy, it could be operated by pretty much anyone with some basic training.
So where in the world are some of the biggest issues when it comes to this blood analysis, and why is it important that we need to speed up the process?
So a complete blood count, maybe a moment about what is it, and then why is it important to speed it up? So a complete blood count, as I said, is the most common blood test run today. It's basically a measure of the count of the different cells that you have in your body. So how many white blood cells, how many platelets, how many red blood cells, etc. And it's a very wide diagnostic tool that helps doctor across a multitude of different situations. And almost any diagnostic that the doctor will run will also include a complete blood count. So it could help differentiate viral or bacterial infections. It can help understand whether you have anemia or not, and it could be used very widely.
And yes, it sounds like to diagnose, for the diagnosis of all kinds of different things, which is really important, especially when you have something that's fast moving or you need to get that analysis and get some kind of treatment out there quickly. So with this kind of machine, let's walk through the technology behind it, and then we'll talk about some wider implications after that. But let's talk about the tech of how you're able to do this so quickly.
Yes, of course. So look, the current analyzers are based on a technology that flows the blood through little tubes and count them as they leave the cells. This works well when it's a central laboratory, but when you try to shrink it, both the performance is not as good as in the lab, and you can't operate it easily. It requires lab technicians, etc. So shrinking the technology required really a different approach, a different paradigm. And we went with computer vision. So what we do is we create a digitized version of your blood, take two blood samples, two blood drops from a finger prick or from a venous sample. It goes into a single-use simple cartridge that then goes into the analyzer. The analyzer takes around 1,000 detailed images across different exposures, and then creates a very detailed image of your blood. And on top of that very detailed image of your blood, we run algorithms. We have deep learning, machine learning algorithms that can classify different cells to a red blood cell, a platelet, et cetera, et cetera.
And so somebody would be able to use that and put it into your machine and have a diagnosis of issues that come up. Is it able to diagnose problems?
So at the moment, unlike our previous analyzer, which was, do you have malaria and of which kind? This provides just a complete blood count, which isn't a definitive diagnosis. It's more like blood pressure or temperature. It's basic characteristics about you and your health that are useful across a multitude of diagnoses. So it would require a doctor's interpretation to make a lot of sense from it, unless you're unusually geeky about your health.
Well, no, that's amazing. How long does it take to actually do that?
So to prepare a sample is around 30 seconds to a minute. And then you place it in the analyzer, and for 10 minutes, the analyzer takes pictures and runs the algorithms in parallel. After 10 minutes, you take it out, throw it all into a disposable, to a bin, and get your results. So end to end, 11, 12 minutes.
That's incredible. I mean, what you would be able to do with that, to have that kind of quick analysis out in the field wherever you are. I know there's also the cost associated with it, that this could help with that side of things too. Can you talk a little bit just about what generally that costs for blood analysis and how this helps to offset some of that?
So yeah, if you think of a central laboratory machines, those are quite efficient and cheap. They run at huge volumes, et cetera, et cetera. However, getting the blood there and maintaining them, et cetera, is very, very costly. So usually you have a phlebotomist that takes a tube of your blood and then puts it in a truck, in a cool truck that goes across states to bring it to a central factory like laboratory where your results are analyzed. The real cost saving is by simplifying all that side of the process. The other cost saving comes from being able to release patients much, much faster. Imagine an oncology patient, so someone with cancer, who at the moment, before every time they have to receive chemotherapy, needs to get a complete blood count to see that it's safe to provide them with chemotherapy. Today, they come into a small clinic. That small clinic cannot afford a huge laboratory-grade analyzer, so they send it over to a different part of town where there is one. And you have an oncology patient that is set for hours waiting for results before they can begin treatment. Getting results faster would not only, be much safer and better from a patient care, but it would free, hospital beds, would free beds and allow simpler operations within the healthcare facilities.
Which in the end is going to make things so much easier for so many people that need that help. You can help more people faster. It just makes sense. One other thing I wanted to talk about too is just you're able to get these extreme, these very highly detailed digitized versions of blood samples. With all of this data, I'm assuming that you collect this data and it's stored somewhere. What are some of the other implications or different ways that you, I guess, store that data, and then what can you extrapolate from there?
So maybe first and foremost, we don't collect data from patients without consent. This isn't a data collection scheme behind the scenes.
Right. Nope, and that's fair. That's a fair statement to make. Yeah.
but it's and we believe the data belongs to patients rather than to us in its core. But when you think of creating a digitized version of your blood, there is an incredible amount that could be done with it. So I've mentioned earlier that we started off as a malaria diagnostics company. pretty much the same technology was used there. So that technology is used in Africa. There's nearly, in 25 countries, nearly 1 million tests delivered to date, etc. Using the same technology, we now do a complete blood count. There are other tests that we would be able to run. And the simple way to think about it is that what we're doing is we're automating microscopy. We're basically automating a person who looks through a microscope and looks at a slide and counts things or analyzes things. So pretty much things that you could do with a microscope, we would be able to eventually run on the organ.
Well, it's pretty incredible technology, and I just got to ask to kind of let everybody know, where are you at right now with the machines, and when can we expect to start seeing these out in the field?
So the Ola received CE mark in summer last year, and therefore we're active where CE mark is applicable, which is Europe. That's why we opened the UK office, and we are commercializing our technology in those markets. If we're thinking from a US perspective, which is our most important market, we have been working with the FDA for very long. We've run clinical trials in Boston Children's Hospital, in Harvard Columbia. We ran clinical trials of nearly 700 participants. We submitted the results of those clinical trials to the FDA, and we are hopeful to receive FDA approval in the coming months.
Well, congratulations on the success with that, and best of luck on getting that approval. I hope that gets through the process very quickly. And thank you very much for joining us here on Digital Trends Live to talk about this. Really appreciate it, Aussie.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so fascinating, learning about that convergence of technology and health and where that's going and how it can change lives. We see technology advance so rapidly that it's fun to catch up with this and find out different ways that it actually is being utilized. We have tons of articles about that at digitaltrends.com and different ways that health technology is being incorporated into our lives now. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We've got Ken Young, who's coming up for another edition of Tech Briefs. Ken is from Flipboard. We're going to catch you up on everything that went on at the Microsoft event. Each week, we take 10 minutes. We make sure that you know what's going on so you can go into your weekend being educated on the biggest story in tech. So all that's coming up. Stick around, back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you for joining us. It is Friday, which means it's time for another edition of Tech Briefs. I'm Greg Nibbler, joined now by Ken Young of Flipboard. Hello, Ken.
Hey, Greg, nice to see you. How's it going?
Doing great. Good to see you, too. Let's catch everyone up to date on tech from this week. And I think there's no other event that really took over everything quite like the Microsoft hardware event. We're in the hardware event season, as it were. We've got Google coming up. We've had Apple. We've had everybody else releasing their hardware, Amazon. But Microsoft had their turn and released some pretty interesting things. Let's start off. We're going to walk through a little bit of all of it for everybody. But starting off with the computing side, as far as the laptop laptops. We did get some new laptops, a new Surface Laptop 3, which is nice, a nice upgrade from what we had previously. And we can get into some of the internals on that, but just kind of set it up. Then we have the Surface Pro side of things. So let's kind of maybe start off with the Surface Laptop. What did you think about that?
So, I mean, I think overall, as we talk about these different laptops, I think what's noticeable is that right now, this is all about getting your holiday wish list put together. I mean, do you want an Apple? Do you want Google? Do you want Amazon? Now, do you want Microsoft? And look, what they announced this week was basically a refresh or just a typical iteration jump for their Surface line. And I think the main difference for the Surface Laptop and the Surface Pro and the Surface 3, all of that is basically the chip. And what's noticeable about what's significant is that I believe some of them have the SQ1 processor, which is a collaboration between Qualcomm and AMD and ARM. And then there's some that are using the AMD Ryzen chip as well. So there's more power to these devices that are coming out, and I think, but largely the specs are pretty similar. Slight aesthetic polish, but overall, still these are pretty good devices.
Yeah, we saw with the Surface Laptop 3, just to give everybody a little bit of reference, the 13-inch model coming out for $999, 15 inches, $1,199. That's October 22nd, I think, for a lot of these devices. So that's like the Surface Laptop 3. The Surface Pro 7, you're right, it's an upgrade. They have the USB-C aspect into it, which I think is great. The more universal all these ports are, the better, because I lose cables all the time. So I prefer if I could just have one cable for everything. So I'm slowly marching towards that. One interesting thing that I did want to point out with the Surface Pro 7, and then we'll talk about the other one as well, was the studio mic adaptation. For anybody who does any kind of video calls, and I'm sure a lot of us do at this point, we do definitely on Digital Trends, it's the idea that they're going to have these mics angled so it'll block out all that background noise when you're having those conversations with someone and it's just loud and muffled. They actually hone that in a little bit better. So that I like. That's a nice little addition. Maybe that's just for me. That's talking about the Surface Pro 7. So that's $749. Then you get into some of the other stuff. And the Surface Pro X. And that is their beefed up version of the Surface Pro. I actually really liked this one.
I do. I mean, I think this is what Microsoft can put up to a bat against the iPad Pro.
Right.
And look, I actually have a Surface Book at home, and that's what I watched the live stream on. It's very rare that I actually use it. I mean, I have a PC at home, PC desktop at home that I do with a lot of my work, and I use a MacBook Pro here at work. So it basically sits around collecting dust. But every time I open it up, I really enjoy that experience and the device. So with the Surface Pro X, and first of all, the whole naming thing needs to be changed because honestly, everyone's is starting to sound the same, and it's awfully confusing, right?
Right.
But I think beside that, I mean, the device is pretty polished. I love the black matte of it, the impact, what the capabilities they have on there. What's interesting is that it comes with a slim pen, right? But it's not like something like like a pencil with the iPad Pro where you magnetically attach it to the outside and potentially you can you knock into it and it falls off. This actually is embedded. There's a little pocket in the cover, on the inside of the cover where the keyboard is, where you can actually store it, and it actually charges this pen. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I think what was noticeable is the demo, right? And you and I were tweeting about this.
Yes.
At the time when they had someone from Adobe, an illustrator from Adobe, demonstrated Fusion, I believe that the app was called, and she was just designing. She was doing a portrait, an illustration of somebody, and it was just kind of really fascinating to see that type of work at play on the Surface Pro X.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's not like we haven't seen pens before, with illustrating, but there's something about that demonstration. I think it was the Adobe Fresco that they were using, that newer one that they have.
Fresco, yes.
Yeah, and yeah, both you and I are like, yeah, we want to draw. We may be terrible artists, but nonetheless, I want to play around with that. So it was a pretty cool adaptation. And that's, again, we're walking through just everything with the Microsoft side of things. So that's the computing side. We need to get, we're going to get to the futuristic stuff here in a minute, but Microsoft also joining the the wireless earbud game, as everybody seems to be doing. We had the Amazon Echo Buds, or whatever they were called. I think it's the Echo Buds, Echo Pods that came out recently. Everybody's rolling out with their version to compete with Apple. Now we have the Microsoft one with their Surface earbuds. On the Surface, no pun intended, they seem fine. The charging case for 24 hours. They've got the functionality seems to be pretty cool. They've got some form of noise cancellation, which is great. The look is something that a lot of people talked about, though. I think that was just as much as the tech, in that it's a big, giant circle. So going a very different direction than Apple's. What did you think of these?
So the size is not something I care for. I mean, you look at with Samsung and Apple. I mean, yes, everyone has different form factors, so you can't mistaken which earbud you're using. But I think what's fascinating, what you just saw here, that what's noticeable is its integration with Office, right? And look, you're using this. Yeah, you can use these earbuds to listen to Spotify and to work with any voice assistant that's on your connected device, right? Whether it's Amazon, whether it's Alexa, whether it's Siri or Google Assistant or anything like that. But what you can do, what I like about this is that, look, if you happen to be, in a presentation, whatever, you can actually control what's happening on a PowerPoint or an Excel spreadsheet and kind of make it a little bit more collaborative type of thing. So it's almost like they're making the earbud the new mouse for the voice generation. So whether or not people will flock to do that versus, using a trackpad or they're, doing it on their phone or on a keypad, that remains to be seen. But I mean, this is kind of an interesting take on it, and it kind of matches with the kind of the process and the philosophy that Microsoft's trying to be doing under the Satya Nadella regime.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you said, it's this further integration of all their products, that each one's kind of an extension of the other. So I like it when people have, some kind of, or when companies have some experimentation, they try something new, they innovate, whether it sticks or not, we'll see, but it's always fun to see that. And they definitely did some innovation on a couple of other sides, joining back once again the phone game with their now Surface Duo is what this is going to be called. So this is the new phone that's coming out from them. I believe they're calling it a device, but it's a phone. And it is the dual screen, but it's not the foldable screen like we saw with Samsung. This does have a hinge in the middle of it, but it's a dual screen phone. And I think that's something we've seen from LG. We've seen some other companies working on this, and I think we're going to see a lot of these kinds of things come out. But what I really like to see with this stuff is what kind of software integration that they have. And Microsoft does seem to have some good points with the software side of things, to where, one of the examples was, say you're working in one document and you want to just copy an email address over to another document, or drop in a map. That's kind of a pain when you have to go through different apps. This, you would just drag and drop it across the screen. I kind of like that idea.
So yeah, I mean, look, this is. I agree. This is a phone. Microsoft's saying, don't call it a phone. It's not. We don't think it's a phone. It's a Surface device.
It's a phone.
Yeah, it's a Surface device. It's a phone. Watch this video again, and when she gets a phone call, that means it's a phone, right? It's clearly a phone. You could clearly do the same thing on an iPad as well, it would basically be a phone. Right. I think they're getting back into the phone business. It's very, very surprising. They certainly have learned, seems to have learned their lesson from before when they acquired Nokia and they had their Windows mobile platform. But this time, they're not building a mobile operating system per se. They are building. This is going to be an Android-powered device. So in terms of building out the app ecosystem, they get that significant leg up because of Google. But certainly they need to be able to work with developers. I'm surprised we're not queuing up the Steve Ballmer developers side here. But
no, I've heard it too much lately.
But developers aren't going to be an important part of building out for these foldable devices. Look, I'm calling them foldable because essentially they do fold, but everyone's calling them a dual screen. And that's true because it's not like the Samsung Fold. It's not like what Huawei and everybody else is coming out with a true foldable, but dual screen and foldable can be used interchangeably.
Yeah.
But that beside the point. But getting back to it, yes. But what we haven't talked about, and what we're talking about in terms of futuristic side, is now there's going to be a new operating system per se. It's called Windows 10X.
Yes.
Now, this is specifically geared for these dual screen devices that Microsoft is going to be releasing. You won't be able to gain access to Windows 10X, the Microsoft Surface Duo, or what we'll be talking about later on, the Surface Neo, until 2020.
Yeah, and we could just bring that up too. So the Neo was the other thing that came along with this, and that's the actual, more of like an actual Surface laptop device. That's the same thing. It's a bigger version of the Duo,
right?
Ostensibly. But yeah, this operating system, this Windows 10X, that is the part that I find really interesting, and that's why I really want to get some hands-on time with this, and just to see some of the different ways you can utilize this. Once you get those developers, their hands on it, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, I really like the Neo. I mean, the name sounds awful. It reminds me of the Neo Geo video game and also of the Matrix. But look, the Neo, it reminds me of a moleskin, and the fact that everything is magnetic. So if you get a chance to watch this video where they introduce the Neo, I mean, this looks like a full-on moleskin notebook. It's dual screen. And it's fundamentally how you would use a notebook while on the go. You would write on one page and flip through everything, and it looks normal, right? But then you also have a keyboard, and there's also a insert for the pen that's all magnetic, and it seems out of the way for everything. So this is kind of something I really want to try out. I think this is out of all the announcements that Microsoft made, this is the one thing that really excites me. I really want to be able to see what happens with Windows 10X, because I think that could that be used elsewhere, and are we going to be able to see that in more of our devices as in the future? And I really am excited to see what Microsoft does next.
Well, and those ones will be coming out holidays 2020. So it's going to be a little while before we actually get these devices, but this is taking a look at the future and looking at it now. And we like to catch you up to date on everything that goes on in tech. And this has been the Microsoft event. So it's their week this week. Coming up in a couple of weeks, we'll be talking about Google. We've got all kinds of other things on the horizon. But Ken, thank you once again for another edition of Tech Briefs.
My pleasure.
And I want to remind everybody who's watching live on the video, we have a podcast. So the podcast is available wherever you get podcasts. Hit the subscribe button, go find Tech Briefs, and that way you'll get the notification every week to keep you up to date. We need to get to a break. Back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. We are live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and that is part of the fun of this show. Do appreciate it. All right, let's continue on with this. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching, and give us your notifications, give us your comments, whatever you want to bring up. Let's continue on, though. We have another great interview for you coming up right now, and this is part of what we like to do here at Digital Trends, is bring you leading people in the technology industry, and we're going to talk about Instagram right now. In particular, we have Zach Benson, the founder of Assistagram.us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I want to talk about the entire platform and everything that you're doing and what people can learn from this. Can you give us a little bit of background, though, on your company and what exactly it is?
Yeah, for sure. So I founded Assistagram, and it's basically an Instagram growth management agency specializing in Instagram campaigns. And we do a lot of tourism board campaigns, work with a lot of luxury brands, hotels, a lot of authors, podcasters, thought leaders. And basically, we just help them grow their presence on Instagram.
That's great. So working with all of these different kinds of people is definitely an interesting prospect of it. But what can you talk about just as some general trends in Instagram in general? Where do you see the marketing going? What do you see with all these different people that you work with?
Yeah, so I mean, Instagram's rolled out a bunch of new features and updates. So their algorithms are becoming so smart that they've been able to detect like automation and third-party tools. So a lot of these companies that do these like follow and follow growth strategies have been shut down. So nowadays in 2019, 2020, it's going to be a lot harder for a lot of people to grow on Instagram just because of these services being shut down. So I see a lot of just it's and really what it takes is a lot of like human power, networking with other influencers to do targeted influencer shout outs about your account, and that's really going to be the only way to grow.
So how does Sistagram help with that?
So think of a Sistagram as like your own like virtual assistant that's just hyper focused on your account 7 days a week, doing everything from like content creation, researching hashtags, social engagement, outreach, replying to comments, everything, right? So it's a whole lot of human power. And when you have somebody grinding on your account, doing hundreds to thousands of manual actions every single day, Instagram's algorithms favor your account. And that's how we're able to grow people's accounts is just by being super active on the platform.
That's great. So that's certainly something that I think is an interesting use of it, having actual people, helping out with that. Talking about brands and influencers and people who want to market more on Instagram, can we talk about Instagram TV just a little bit, IGTV, and what kind of role that plays in the whole suite, in the whole ecosystem of Instagram?
Yeah. So I mean, Instagram TV, like they rolled out that feature, I think, like last year, and you have the ability to post up to 60-minute videos, right? If you're verified and you have a lot of followers, you got that blue check. But for everyone else, you can only post up to 10-minute videos, and it's just another feature where you're going to be able to monetize, right? So I tell everyone, if you're not on Instagram TV right now, like now's the time to get on it so that you can be ahead of the game and not left behind.
That's some good advice. Yeah, to definitely get in there and check that out and see where they're going. Talking about just trends in Instagram right now and monetizing accounts and where we see some of these changes happen. How do you feel about the removal of likes? How is that going to affect influencers? How is that going to affect just everybody that's on Instagram, I guess, in general?
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys probably know, Instagram has been testing removal of likes around the world, like in Canada and Australia. And so, yeah, I think it's going to expose a lot of people just because I know a lot of people use like kind of like inorganic, semi-organic growth hacks to get engagement and to boost their video views and their likes. And so I think it's gonna change up the whole game, really. But I still do think that there's a huge market for influencer marketing. It's a $10 billion industry and growing like crazy. So the real influencers will still be relevant and helping a lot of brands promote their products.
For everybody out there who's maybe not posting enough on Instagram or needs some advice, what is maybe you can give somebody just a tip, a basic beginning tip on if you want to grow into like an influencer account?
Yeah, and I think the main way to do it is through engagement groups. So you can basically.
We're never going to get the tip.
The same as you, and take initiative and actually like and comment on each other's posts throughout the day.
Okay.
This is going to still hit their algorithms and boost you onto the Explore page and get you more followers and exposure.
Well, Zach, I want to thank you so much for joining us. So again, to give everybody the platform to go to to check out more of what you do and learn about how Assistagram can help, where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, you guys can check out my website at assistagram.us, and if you need anything, let us know.
All right, Zach, thanks for joining us here on Digital Trends Live.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, so there we go. Learning more about Instagram and how that is changing and different strategies. Got to get on Instagram TV, and great advice there from Zach about that. All right, we have lots coming up here on Digital Trends Live because it's Ryan Juanita. He's going to be in here to give us his opinions on movies and entertainment. It's between the streams. Drop in your comments and your opinions on whatever platform you're on. We'll be back here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. There you are. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. Thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it when you're here watching us live. And we have a lot to talk about right now because it is time for Between the Streams. I'm Greg Nibbler.
I'm Ryan Juanita.
And we need to talk about some movies and entertainment and things that are going on with that. And I think this definitely, movie-wise, this weekend, The Joker.
Yes.
It is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I know so.
You know so? All right, well,
yeah,
this
it's
is
set for an outrageous amount of money to be made for what, I know it's a big character, but for what seems like sort of a character study, sort of a weird, dark film. I'm not that excited about it, but...
Really?
Yeah, really. I never was. I told you it looked
Yeah,
bad, vibey, and weird, and, you know, then it got the 8-minute standing ovation, and I was like, I guess it's a thing, but now I'm reading reviews, and they're like, what the hell even is this? So, some reviews really like it. I'm just not sure it's going to be what people think it's going to be. But all of this hype around it, all of the, is this going to inspire violence? What does art mean to people?
Right.
Rick Marshall actually wrote a piece about that brought out trolls like you would not believe.
Yeah.
Talking about the responsibility of
art. A lot
art,
of feedback.
And what it inspires or doesn't inspire. So. It's certainly going to be interesting. I just have a feeling a lot of people are going to go to this like on date night or something and be like, oh, we're watching, the Joker movie. And they're going to be like, what is this? And I have no doubt that Joaquin Phoenix is going to be fantastic because he always is.
Right.
He's incredible. Yeah. I just, I'm not that excited about this movie, to be perfectly honest. But, I think it'll be interesting.
I mean, putting it in that aspect, you're right. Maybe just don't go in with super huge expectations of what you think it's going to be. I am excited about it. I probably will go see it this weekend. But yeah, it's coming out now. This is the one, we've talked about it since we first heard about this. Like, I don't know, years ago, whatever it was.
We didn't know what the heck they were trying to do.
No.
And this is what you would call sort of the deconstruction of the DCEU.
Yeah.
They were trying to connect everything, and that didn't
but
work
this
so
is going to be
hot,
completely
and now
different.
This is like, that's what I mean.
Standalone,
it's no longer DCEU. They're starting to do these sort of spin-off films.
Yeah.
Like you just using characters to do their own movies, and they're like, well, maybe this will work.
Yeah.
We got lots
Try it out.
Characters and
here's a character for
make
you.
Movies.
Well, that's the Joker movie, so that is coming out this weekend. You can watch that. We've got lots of articles at Digital Trends just covering all kinds of aspects of it that you can take a look at. But going back to the DCEU, there is something that's going to be coming out with Birds of Prey, and we knew this was going to be happening. And this is the Margot Robbie-led cast of female characters that all come together and have to battle something, and they've got a whole bunch of characters in this. We finally got a trailer for it. Yeah. There's a lot, and we have a whole article that just kind of walks through who some of them are.
Because you don't know who any of them are?
No, some of them, maybe if you're a big DC fan, some of them you probably know. Like the Huntress, I certainly know the name The Huntress, and that's one of the characters. She's often, I guess, cross paths with Batman, so it's one of those kinds of things. She's got a crossbow. That's cool.
Right.
So she's more of kind of a crime boss, so definitely on the bad, the villain side of things. And then some of them it's just kind of a mix of either villains or superheroes or people that sell superheroes.
Right.
It's a real across the board. You have the Huntress, you have Black Canary is another one. Black Canary, I definitely recognize that name as well, or at least maybe just in conjunction with this Birds of Prey movie that's going to be coming out.
Right.
We've heard so much about. Usually teams up with kind of Green Arrow, I guess, in the DC universe.
Yeah.
You following me? You sticking with me here?
I'm not a fan
You've already
of Green
lost
Arrow.
me.
He's like a Batman.
I've already
Robin
lost
Hood.
it. Well, there's a bunch of
And
them.
he's got the show.
So there's
Not a great show.
Renee Montoya, Cassandra Cain, Victor Zsasz, you've got however you say that, and then Black Mask. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of characters. That's going beyond that.
Right.
They throw them all together. It's another kind of Suicide Squad-esque,
Right.
team up, and they got to go fight things.
I think maybe what's most interesting about this is the two key actors in Margot Robbie and Ewan McGregor. Continuing on with the McGregor-sance. As we called it, I think, a while back. And, this is sort of Robbie's project.
Yeah.
She is producing. She wanted to put it together. I think she had a huge hand in the cast, the vibe of the movie, all these things. And let's give it to her. She really goes for it with that weird accent of her character. It's a very strange character, Harley Quinn. Who anybody who's watched?
Yeah, but she's great at it.
She's great at it. If you like the character. Anybody who's watched the Batman animated series, Harley Quinn, she really kind of channels that Harley Quinn.
Gotcha.
So it's very interesting to see it in live action because that's kind of a somewhat obscure animated TV show that I used to watch and a lot of comic nerds watch. But it's interesting that we're making $250 million movies about characters like this. Let's just put it that way.
That's where we've come. That's where we've come with all these superhero movies. So that's what we're looking at. And again, we're just kind of walking through some of the big things that we've seen this week. So we talked about the Joker movie. That's something that's coming out. The Birds of Prey movie, to give you an idea, that's coming out in, actually it's not that far away, February 7th, 2020, as we're taking a look at the release dates. So that's going to be coming up. So that's the DCEU, a little bit of that. There's something else, though, that's coming out a little bit sooner, about a month, I think, from now, and that's His Dark Materials. I'm really interested in this. I'm also a little hesitant to get excited about it. But
you should not
you tell me.
At all be hesitant.
Can you give us a little background on this?
Well, it's a very weird movie. I mean, it's a very weird book, I should say. And it's really interesting that they're making it into a TV show and they're doing it right. The Golden Compass came out and they just didn't give it its due.
Yeah, the Golden Compass movie, I did like the Golden Compass movie. I thought it was interesting.
I actually didn't even see it because I wasn't interested in it, but my wife actually made me read the Philip Pullman books. I've read all of them. They are incredible. They are this strange take on the universe / multiverse. They have really compelling characters, really dimensional characters, and there's some magic involved. It's really kind of difficult to explain until you get into it, but it's this other world. It's like a world that happens on top of our world, but in the one that you're immersed in.
World on top of a world.
Yeah, multi-dimensions, stacking. But in the one you're immersed in here, I guess the main thing to know is that everyone has a creature that lives along with them. It's basically their soul, which lives outside their body, that they call daemons or demons. And they're animals, like maybe yours is a dog or a cat, or maybe it's an otter. And they are supposed to basically sort of encompass your being, yourself, like what you're about. So maybe if you're a really big swimmer, you might have a river otter or something. Maybe if you love being in the water, that would be it. Or oftentimes what they do in this one is if you are sort of a servant, you have a dog as your daemon. So it's this really interesting thing that... And you saw it in the movie.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's really well explained in the book, but that's just a small part of it. There's this huge cataclysmic event happening, and they don't know why, and this one character knows why, and that's played by James McAvoy.
You are so excited about this.
I am absolutely excited about it. Just looking at the trailer from what we've seen, it's going to be amazing.
All right, I'm excited about it. But yeah, I was going to watch it already, and then this
It's
is on
HBO,
HBO.
you know,
HBO.
but it's a BBC production. They've been working on it for 4 years, and just looking at the footage, looking at the characters that are playing. They've got Lin-Manuel Miranda playing one of my favorite characters in this book. It's going to be great. You got to have some Manuel.
Got to have some Manuel in there. Well, that's going to be coming out pretty soon. When is this? November 4th. November 4th is when you're going to be able to watch that. So that's going to be on HBO. Something else to bring up is the King's Man trailer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. You're going to have to explain this one to me.
It's the Kingsman, but it's a prequel.
The Kingsman's prequel. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the King's Man. So tell us about the trailer and what you're excited about with this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say I was excited, but there is a trailer for it.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's a good cast,
put Ryan in a corner.
and it looks like it's going to be fun. I think it goes back to World War I, and it's
okay.
If you've seen the Kingsman movies. Really?
No,
you haven't seen the Kingsman movies?
I haven't seen them. That's well,
it's a secret society. It's based on a comic book. The first movie is very zany. I actually didn't see the second, but it's supposed to be pretty decent.
Cool.
Didn't get as well, reviewed, but it's
sort of fun movies.
They're
right?
fun movies. There's a lot of action, and
nice.
it's sort of this secret society that kicks ass, basically.
Cool. Yeah.
They've been there. It's a British society that's like spies, but a little bit different, and this is sort of the origin story of that.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay. Well, and that's coming out February 14th, 2020. So that's when you're going to be able to watch that one. But that's cool getting another trailer for it. Let us know what you think about that. We do have a couple other things to talk about. This is something I'm pretty excited about because I feel like it's a good thing that Star Wars is doing.
Yeah.
With some of these standalone series, and that is an Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone series on Disney Plus. It's going to be happening with Ewan McGregor back.
That's right.
Boom. The McGregor-sance, as you said.
McGregor-sance continues.
As Ryan Juanita coined, it does continue. And this has just got to be fun. I mean, I'm sure. I don't see how this could not be fun.
It's going to be really interesting. They've got they just announced their director, Deborah Chow.
Yeah.
And the basic series is going to be very limited. It's going to be, I think, 6 episodes. So it's kind of the idea of they were going to make a feature film. Now they have their streaming service, to prop up. So they decided to just do sort of a short, a limited series, and they can get McGregor for it because they're Disney. So it should be, by all accounts, it should be well funded, well made, and an interesting sort of interim story about what Obi-Wan was up to before he sort of started
the weird old man
helping out Luke. Yeah, exactly. And became the weird old man.
It's a strange old man.
Yeah,
lives
why
up
is
the
he
road.
old Ben? What a weirdo.
Yeah, super weirdo.
Before he's old Ben.
Yeah. How did he get so weird?
Well, they startle early, easily, but they'll be back, and in greater numbers. Why do you talk like that?
What happened to him? Seriously. And then Deborah Chow, just to emphasize that too, who's going to be directing it. She also directed Jessica Jones, or episodes of Jessica Jones, Lost in Space, Better Call Saul. So pretty solid resume right there.
Yeah, she's in the Netflix family, so Disney pulled her out.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty great. So looking forward to that, and that's something that we'll see on Disney Plus sometime.
Someday.
I'm going to guess someday, sometime, probably years from now,
yeah.
in a land far, far away. That's where we'll see that. So that's going to be coming up on Disney Plus. The final thing we want to bring up too is something that you can't watch it this weekend, but I was too excited I had to put it in here because it's going to be releasing on next Thursday, and that is the 5th season of Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
It's going to be available on Netflix. If you're in Canada, you've already seen it. Lucky Canadians. But it's going to be here. It's going to be on Netflix. If you have never watched this show, you are poorer for it. It is so good. I'm serious. It's just so good.
I've only watched about 5 or 6 episodes of the first season.
Yeah.
And I have enjoyed it. I hear it keeps.
I
hear it keeps getting better.
It keeps
which
getting
I'm
better.
excited for. The characters are great.
Yes.
I love the 2 lead acters, the father-son duo. They're really
Daniel
fun
Levy
together.
is the best part of this show.
He is really great.
Yeah, and that's Eugene Levy's son.
Yeah.
He's just David. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he is
He's
great.
definitely the best, but everybody else, I mean, the rest of the cast is amazing too.
Yeah,
They're
one of the
all
interesting
great.
things about him is he's kind of a jerk, but strangely likable. And
It
you
is,
love
yeah.
characters like
Like,
that.
you're a real.
You want him to win, but
You're
you're
a real
like,
ass.
not really
man.
sure why.
Yeah, he's just so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody else, I mean, the whole rest of the cast is amazing too. It's fun. It's real easy to watch. If you want to just put something on.
It is a good one to throw on.
Yeah. You don't have to do a lot of thinking, but it's all taking place in this tiny town in Canada. It's just a really great series. So I just want to emphasize, if you haven't seen it, now's the time to catch up because season 5 comes out.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara too, right?
I know,
It's a
right?
great
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah, it's a super great cast. So check that out if you have not watched it. All right. I think that's about it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It is. Well, and we have to say that Mr. Ryan Juanita is going to be out for a few weeks. You are going on a travel around the world. I don't know.
Yeah, a journey
a journey to find yourself.
All of the deeper, the deeper worlds.
Yes, indeed. He's filming a documentary. No,
right? Documentary.
Ryan's,
you told him that was supposed to be a surprise.
Ah, dang it! I ruined it. Spoilers. No, Ryan's going to be out for a few weeks on vacation, so we will have a revolving cast.
We call it sabbatical, but yeah,
it's sabbatical. Okay, I didn't know what sabbatical.
It's basically vacation.
Yeah, it's a vacation. Okay. So Ryan's going to be out. We'll have a revolving cast filling in. But Ryan, good to see you.
Yes.
We'll talk to you in a few weeks.
Yeah.
When the world has changed.
When the world has changed.
We'll
That's
see what's
exactly
happened.
right.
And thank you,
I'll
everybody,
have changed.
for listening to this show. This is Digital Trends Live. We appreciate it. We've had a tremendous week here at Digital Trends Live. We've covered a lot. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we do have just to recap today's show on everything that we've covered today. Huge thank you to Nicole Rainey, who was in here earlier co-hosting. We talked about Instagram threads. We talked about some other major news that's happening, so keeping you up to date on that. We had Felicia Miranda and Gabe Gerwin talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Don't forget, John Bernthal. That interview is up right now at digitaltrends.com. Go watch that. It was fun.
It is a great interview.
Thank you. It was really cool. John Bernthal's
great answers. He's
badass.
Incredible humility. He's done really interesting things.
Yeah.
He works with veterans for all these cool things all the time, and then hangs out with them afterwards.
Yeah.
Becomes friends with them. He just seems like a great guy.
He's the Punisher.
Also, he's the Punisher.
Yeah. So check that interview out at digitaltrends.com. Also today, Riley Wynn with more TwitchCon coverage, and that was with Priesta. Thank you to Riley for all his hard work on that. We had Aussie Goal from Site Diagnostics talking about different ways to analyze blood in the field. We had Ken Young for Tech Briefs. Check out the podcast. Hit subscribe to that. We got Zach Benson from Assistagram, and then one Mr. Ryan Juanita joining us for Between the Streams. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for joining us every week. We're live here every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, bringing you all these tech headlines, news, interviews, and discussions. And we'll be back on Monday with more of that. Have a great weekend. That's it for this episode of Digital Trends Live.